Great. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So, um, I'm glad you guys have joined me tonight. We are doing a follow-up to a few weeks ago. Well, it's actually a couple months ago. We had a food as medicine class that I joined with Tony Sinclair, and this is the demo section of it. And this week we were talking um, a lot about thyroid health and what you can do if you have hypo or hyperthyroid. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that and really talk about a really good recipe that I love. Um, and if you have comments or questions, we'll be taking those throughout. We're going to keep it quick to about an hour. I'm going to do two delicious, delicious recipes. So and what's great about this recipe is I already had it this week because it's on my food delivery menu. So it was great. And so I thought it would be a perfect raw summer dish to make for today. So if you have questions, comments, just put it in the comment section and we'll get those answered for you. If you know someone who should see this video about how to eat healthy, eat for thyroid health, eat good plant-based food that tastes delicious, then this is your time. So gonna get started with a little bit, for those who might not know, I always like to start with a little bit of my story as to why I kind of got into doing what I do. And that is through my own bout with thyroid cancer and healing myself using plant-based foods. So this is the kind of food that I ate to help heal myself during that year-long process that I had of really figuring out how do you eat differently and how do you eat to heal. And what I found was most of the healing nutrients were in the leafy greens, the green vegetables, the things like garlic and onions, the herbs, bitter herbs, like we would consider this this is dill a bitter herb. And so we're like, how do we really use these herbs to heal? And it's really eating them every day in a variety of different ways. Garlic was big on my list of things I ate every day, all the time. And so I found a lot of different ways to work raw garlic in. And so that's a part of this recipe too. So that year-long process, I decided to use just natural methods, natural treatment for myself. And the basic part of that was changing to that whole food plant-based diet. And then the other part was meditation and visualization and reducing stress and understanding the mind-body connection, learning to speak up for myself, all of those kind of things. So all of that together is what makes up holistic nutrition. So it's not just the food, but it's lifestyle, it's relationships, it's everything that goes into what keeps us well and what will help us heal if we do get sick. So what we're starting with today is, so long story short, for those who don't know, a year-long process of really learning to use food as medicine, coming up with my own nutrition plan. The cancer was gone naturally. And I switched my career from engineering to eventually holistic nutrition, doing what I'm doing now and teaching people how to eat for health and really make it taste good at the same time. So I'm excited about that. So today we are making, there's so many names for this, I never know what to call it exactly. It's a mock chicken salad or raw vegan chicken salad or a cashew chicken salad. It's reminiscent of chicken. So I'm just gonna say that. It doesn't taste like chicken, but it's reminiscent of chicken. So I just want to kind of give that disclaimer. It's to give you an idea of where we're trying to go with the recipe, but don't expect it to taste like, chopped chicken, but it's delicious. Okay, so we start with, and if you want the recipe, I believe somebody's gonna put that in the chat. You can go to rubylathon.com/class recipes. for this particular recipe, and we also have a dessert recipe. So you don't have to write down every little thing. You can go there and download the recipe. So we are starting with cashews that I have been soaking. So we're going to start with those, and I put a little extra water in there. We definitely don't want this much water because it'll make the sauce that we're going to put on the broccoli and things. That's the base of the salad. This is the sauce. It's not. It needs to be creamy and thick. This would make it a little too loose. So I'm going to pour some of this water off. All right. So we've got our cashews. And this does work best with like a high-speed blender, like a Vitamix or a Ninja or something like that. You can do it with any blender. This is not going to be as smooth than like a Ninja or Vitamix. So don't worry if you don't have that, it still works. So we're going to put all of our ingredients for the sauce in here. So that's 2 cloves of garlic. Let's see, we're going to put some green onion in there. All right, so just cut the ends off of that. The green parts, just get the fresh parts. So we've got our green onion. We're just going to throw it right in there. I love green onion, especially when you're doing raw dishes. Green onion is great. So we're just going to drop that right in there. Got our green onion or spring onion, as some people call it. We've got jalapeno. We don't want to use the seeds unless you like spice, because most of the spice from the jalapeno is in the seeds. So, and if you're someone who doesn't like any spice at all, you can just leave this out and just put an extra green onion in there and don't worry about it. So, and with the jalapeno, you never know if it's a mild jalapeno or a super hot one. So you kind of have to play that by ear. So I'm not going to put too much in there because I don't like this particular salad to be too spicy. So, all right, so we got our jalapeno in there. And then we're going to put our dill. This gives it such a fresh flavor. You really want to use fresh dill for this. It smells so good. This is what gives it that chickeny kind of flavor, is the fresh dill. You really got to get that in there. So if all you have is the dried dill, okay, but it's not going to taste the same. Fresh with this particular recipe, the fresh. It's so good. It's important. The fresh dill is important. All right, so that's in there. Let's see what else we have. Got our lemon juice. This is about 5 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. So with lemon juice, it's best to use it, fresh, or if you get bottled lemon juice, it's okay to keep that in the freezer, but make sure it's real lemon juice and it's just lemon juice, not polysorbate 80 and all these preservatives. Just get fresh organic lemon juice, nothing else in it. It's okay to use that instead of fresh lemons because it tastes pretty much the same, but don't get that other stuff that's got like 4 or 5 other ingredients in it besides lemon juice, okay? So, because it's okay to take some shortcuts. And then a little bit of sea salt, and you can reserve a little bit of that and see how it tastes, so we're not going to put a lot. And then miso. Okay, so this is a white miso. You can see that it's kind of giving a reflection. There we go. All right. Anyway, I don't know if you hopefully you can see that. So this is a white miso paste. You find it in the store, usually near where you're going to find the tofu and things like that. Tofu, tempeh. This is usually where you're going to find a white miso paste, because this is also made from soy. if you're avoiding soy for whatever reason, there's nothing wrong with organic soy. But if you're avoiding soy, they do have a chickpea miso, and they're also coming up with like hemp and other types of miso paste. Traditional miso paste is with soy, but the chickpea miso tastes just as good. So you can get that instead. And it's refrigerated. So this is what's going to give it this nice umami flavor. Listen, you need to if you're just going plant-based, you need to have miso in your arsenal of seasonings, because this is what brings out a rich umami-like flavor, and it tastes so good. So you really need to get miso and keep that on hand for dressing, sauces, salad dressings, soups, dips. This is what kicks it up and gives it that rich flavor, and not this just like barely tasting flavor. Okay, so miso, that is the base. If you don't have miso, you could use tamari, right? Tamari also brings out that rich flavor. If you don't have tamari, you could use soy sauce. This is kind of going down. Or coconut aminos. Like, let's say you're avoiding soy again, you don't want to use tamari, you could use coconut aminos, which will also, it has the coconut aminos, going to give it a little sweetness to it, just so you know, but not overwhelm it. But tamari, soy sauce, kind of all in the same family. So there's that. And then I think that's it. And then we've got a little water here to put in as much as we need to keep it moving. So for those who might have just joined, we are doing a mock chicken salad, a raw vegan chicken salad. And we're using cashews as the base for the dressing. So we're just gonna blend this up until it's smooth. A little bit more water. Sometimes you have to move it around. It doesn't move enough, and that's what this is. But it seems like it's not doing on its own. Turn it up. Almost done. So you want it nice and like super smooth, okay? So that's what it looks like. I'm gonna give it a taste and see if we need to adjust any, like add any additional seasonings. That's yummy. That's yummy. I can taste the dill. That really brings it on home. It has a little bit of a green hue to it. So you can see that it's nice and smooth. That's what you want. This is delicious. You gotta get the sauce right, or the rest doesn't matter. So we got our sauce. So I'm gonna move that, set this aside, and then we're gonna do the base for the mock chicken, which is surprisingly broccoli. So it doesn't get much healthier than that, right? But I'm telling you, this salad tastes so decadent. You would not realize you're just eating like broccoli as the base. So we got a blender and our food processor forward. We get that. tucked in. Let's get worked up. So now, got our food processor. I would also recommend, if you're new to vegan cooking, to get a blender and a food processor. So those are just as the things that you want to have on hand to make cooking easier. So those are the two things. You don't need a lot of equipment, but those two things I highly recommend. So. These out of the way. Here. So we've got our broccoli florets. Delicious. So what we're going to do here now, the recipe calls for kind of just putting everything in the food processor and blending it, but I usually don't do that. I do chop the bell pepper by hand and the celery because I want a nice consistency. If you blend this in the food processor, too much juice is going to come out. It's going to make your dish a little more watery than we really want. Because I've done it both ways, and I find this way it's better of just chopping up your bell pepper. So let me move that over so everybody can see the chop. You can put it in there if you want. If you don't want to chop, it'll just be a little liquidy. So chopping it. Chopping it. Right. So it's about not much chopping here, just this half bell pepper. And you can use orange, yellow, red, it doesn't really matter. So we've got our bell pepper chopped. Just gonna go over that, get everything nice and small. So. And you like color. I would not use the green. Green is not interchangeable with the red, just so you know, for bell peppers. They don't taste the same, but the yellow, orange, and red are interchangeable. So if something calls for yellow and you just have red, generally you can use it. It's just usually for color. They all taste about the same. The green is going to have a less sweet taste and is better for cooking. All right, so there's our bell pepper. And then the same with the celery. I just like it to have a nice little crunch. This may or may not have made it to the recipe, but I added it. So we're just doing our celery. Celery's so good. And so also with this recipe, if you want to do, when I do a real, like a chicken salad using like a mock meat, like a vegan chicken, and I just make it like a regular chicken salad, like with mayo and everything. I like to add fresh sliced grapes, sliced almonds, and celery to give it a nice crunch. So if you want to just make a chicken salad, you know, without it being super healthy like this one, you can use the vegan mock chicken from Beyond or Gardein or any of those, and just cook it. I put it like in the air fryer or something, or just cook it up, bake it, and then shred it up, and then make it with. You can also use the sauce instead of the mayo that we're doing, and then I'd add the sliced red grapes, sliced almonds, make it fancy, you know. So we're going to slice our carrot up, and we're going to throw that in there too. All right, but I'm going to put it in there first and give it a little spin. Put that in there, and I want to do that. So with this, I need to kind of turn it. I'm doing the celery first because I want it a little finer than the broccoli is going to be. Okay, so got our carrot. So it really doesn't get healthier than carrots, celery, broccoli. You know, that is the quintessential health food, right? So, in our mixing bowl. So I'm just going to get the carrots in here. And you've heard the term probably, eat the rainbow. That's what we're doing right here. So we've got red and orange and light green and other several different kinds of greens with the jalapeno and dill and the broccoli and the celery. So we've got that. So now I'm just going to put this on there. And we're going to drop our broccoli florets. Now, if you have the base of the broccoli, you can chop that and put that in here too. But we just have the florets right now. So we're going to put our broccoli florets right in here. Now with this, you don't want to overdo it. What we're looking for is like small pieces, but not like totally minced. So pulsing is a good thing. Okay, so there we go. So this is the consistency that we're looking for. All right. So that right in there. So we've got our broccoli. Do the rest of the broccoli. As I'm telling you, this salad is so good. You're just gonna love it. Make a lot. And it keeps very well for several days. Something great you could take for lunch. So there we go. We're pulsing it a little bit so it doesn't just mince up everything. All right, so there's like one big piece left, but if I go too much longer, it'll do the rest. We can just take that out. All right, so we've got our broccoli in there. All right, so broccoli done. I'm just going to chop up this little piece since it didn't want to cooperate with the rest of the broccoli. Okay, so then I'm just going to put everything in our bowl and mix it up. All right. So the mixing spoon here. Mix it a little bit. Bring up the things from the bottom so it's nice and colorful. All right. So now we are going to grab our sauce and just pour that right on over there. Spatula it out. All right, this smells so good. So eventually you guys are gonna be able to smell remotely, I know. It's like we figured out everything else. You can actually smell what's cooking in this kitchen. It's so good. Just want to get through all of our delicious, rich cashew sauce in there. All right. And then we mix it in, and it's nice and thick, kind of like a mayo. This is what this is acting like for a regular chicken salad, except it has all the flavor in it. So we've got it going. So as soon as everything is coated, that's when you're kind of done mixing. So you shouldn't be any loose pieces. So it's pretty much done. It looks like everything's coated right in there. I'm getting the last remnants of this sauce because it really is so delicious. I don't want any of it to go to waste. So many things are made with so many sauces are made with the cashew cream, from like Alfredo to cheesecake to whatever. I mean, there's so many things. So you do want to master the cashew cream sauce because it's a base for so many delicious things. All right, so show you the consistency now. See that? So I'm gonna plate it up for us here. Grabbing my romaine, so don't go anywhere. So a little more green. So we want to looking for some of the smaller. All right, so we're going to plate this up. All right, so first I'm going to taste it though, just to verify that I kind of already know it's delicious. I'm going to eat this all day. Okay. So, romaine, had it dry a little bit. I don't want it too wet. And so usually get down to the smaller leaves, so easier to eat. Like this is like the perfect size. So you want to get down to the smaller leaves, so it's easier to handle and eat. And get it all in there. That's there. One more. I know you guys want to try this. So this is really simple. So there's no like major cooking here. So you really can't really mess this up. So if you're someone who's like, I don't know how to cook, I burn everything, start with some raw recipes because you can't mess it up that bad. You can't burn it, you know. So there we go. All right. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna bring it over here. All right. There are surface. And so, all right, so here we go. Just like the photo, we have our mock chicken salad, or alternatively, our cashew chicken salad or raw vegan cashew chicken salad. Okay, so there you go. This is absolutely delicious. I hope you try it, but don't go anywhere because we have one more quick and easy recipe for dessert. So that's our cashew chicken salad. And then alternatively, I'm gonna do this. We have a few more cashews, actually. And I'm gonna just sprinkle some of those in there and mix it in. I love cashews. Let's do that. For a little extra crunch, or if you have the sliced almonds, you can mix those in too. Whoops. And you could still even do the red grape, sliced red grapes in here too. That would give it a nice sweetness. So there you go. A lot of takes on it. Cook to your taste. Okay. So our next recipe is going to rinse our food processor. We're going to use that. So our next recipe is a healthy take on dessert. Okay, because everybody's got a little sweet tooth usually. And it's okay if you kind of satisfy the sweet tooth with fruit and other things. And in this recipe, we're using dried fruit as the primary sweetener and a few other things. So there's chicken over here. This carefully pick our ingredients for our Indian dadus. So this is a traditional Indian, they're little dessert balls, but they're called dadus. I've also seen them called ladus. Go to the website to get the recipe. And these are so easy. So, and they have rich Indian flavors to them. So, all right. So what we have in this recipe is we have almond flour, and this is another super easy recipe because the hardest part is just collecting all the stuff. So we have and just use our smaller part of the food processor in here. I'm making like half the recipe because I don't want like a ton of it around. So I'm just doing half the recipe today. From what, so if you download the recipe, I'm just going halving it. So basically we're just gonna put everything in here and chop it up, but I'm gonna start with chopping up the dates first by themselves. And if your dates are really hard, you wanna rehydrate them a little, but these were in between, so they weren't like super hard. They were soft enough. All right, so. Chopping that up a little bit. All right. So now they're nicely chopped up. We're gonna leave them in there. And then we're gonna put our kind of the base is like a 50-50 almond flour. It's pretty easy to find this in like health food stores, Whole Foods, places like that. You could also sub pecan meal. If you can't find the meal or the flour, you can grind it up in the food processor and do it like that and just grind it up first and get it to a powdery state, but don't do it too far where it gets like gummy. So there's that. So there's this. And then we have our cacao powder. That's what this is. So cacao is from a bean, so it's really good for you. This is just raw cacao powder, doesn't have any additives and all that other stuff in it. Usually that's what makes chocolate unhealthy, is like adding milk and sugar and preservatives and stuff like that. So we're not adding that. And then you can use raisins or currants. We're using Thompson raisins here. So I'm gonna add those in, like that. And then we're adding our seasonings, which is cinnamon and cardamom. And those are something that are used in Indian dishes quite often. It smells really good. Cardamom kind of tastes a little bit like cinnamon, but just bolder. And then cloves, ground cloves. So it said like a teaspoon. I was like, that sounds like a lot, but I'm gonna go with it. So, and then we're doing a cup of tahini. So this is sesame seed paste. So you just find this in like the ethnic section of the stores, usually a health food store. So it's just ground sesame seeds. So that is. We're making vegan cookies. We like creaminess. And instead of using like milk or heavy cream or those kind of things, we use things like tahini and cashews. So add that. And then we're gonna add a couple of teaspoons of maple syrup, like about 3. So we're just going to do 3 teaspoons of pure maple syrup. And then we're going to mix it. And if it's like too wet, we can add more almond meal or something like that. Or if it's too dry, a little more liquid. So just going to turn this around. And you're going to keep it going until it kind of clumps together. And scrape it down a little bit. See, something's kind of stuck. It's coming together pretty nicely. You want it to be like kind of like a dough. And that's kind of almost there. So I'm just going to give it a little taste. So Armani, if there are any questions, let me know. Give it a taste. See if we need to add any more sweetness or anything like that. This is really good. I'm thinking I'm gonna add a little more maple syrup. 1 more teaspoon. So, all right. So give it one more taste. It's like a brownie consistency. Okay, very good. So from here, all we do is roll it into, we just roll it into balls. So I'm gonna put a little olive oil on my hand.
Hey, it's
so that-
Erica. That customer who you did the overrides for is back. She was wanting 2 more. Do you need to come down and do those?
So Erica, we can hear you. so, so
Okay, so, okay, what? She's getting 1 of each, another.
all right. So we got a little olive oil, and then I'm just gonna get a spoon to scoop. And I'm just gonna make them into round balls. And olive oil is just so it doesn't get so sticky. And then once you refrigerate these, they get pretty solid. And what you can also do with this is you can roll it in coconut. You can roll it in a little more cacao powder with like a little coconut sugar, so it's a little sweet. You could roll it in crushed almonds or nuts or anything, or leave them just like they are. So these are the ladus. If you had some additional little chocolate chunks, you could put one in the center there as well. And really, this is so rich that 1 is enough. Just gonna roll that there. Do 1 more. So this is super easy, a super healthy dessert that you can keep in the fridge. So whenever you get like, I make them a little big. So if you can just keep it on hand when you have that chocolate craving, we all get that kind of like monthly craving for chocolate. Boom, 1 of those will take care of that and actually will give you energy and nutrients, and it won't bloat you because there's no milk in it or preservatives and things like that. So you have a super healthy dessert. So I'm gonna wash my hands here. Okay. All right. So we have our 2 delicious and easy dishes here. Let's put it. If we want to make it look a little, kind of show putting it in a little almond flour. Just kind of dust it on in there. Again, coconut works great. So there it is with your almond flour right in there. So these are so delicious. I'm just gonna hold it up in case you guys can see it with the words there. So yum yum. Totally raw food that doesn't feel like you're eating raw. Because a lot of times when people do like a raw food diet or something, they feel like really deprived because they're just eating salads or just raw fruit. You can get really creative with things like this and this. Totally raw, but feels very decadent and like you're not eating raw food. And it makes it really easy. So I highly recommend both of these two recipes because they're so easy. If you have kids, you can have them help you make this the dadus, and they can roll it in the dough and things like that. There's so many raw recipes from caramel to other things that you can make. So I hope you enjoyed this demo. So again, like for last week, this was on the actual menu. So for folks who ordered my meal plan last week, it was delivered to their door on Sunday. We deliver every Sunday. So you can go to rubyredsvegan.com to see what's on the menu this week. We've got some great stuff: roasted corn, asparagus, baked beans, because it's the holiday weekend. So we want to give some nice dishes like that. And then also a lot of other yummy stuff: spring onion salad. Oh, and one of my favorites, almond meatloaf. So it's delicious. So check that out. You can go to my main website, has a link to the food delivery. So you can just go to rubylathon.com and you'll find everything there. And then it'll give you the link to the Ruby Reds Vegan. And that's for people right now in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, Baltimore. That's where we deliver. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And, just stay tuned next time. Sign up for my newsletter, know other things that might be coming up. And I'll catch you guys next time.